All right then, Steve Says Boom fans, welcome back to my YouTube channel here. And tonight we're going to have a little bit of fun. We're going to talk about three different creators: Roy Thomas, Steve Englehart, and Len Wein. We're going to talk about their work on one of my favorite early 1970s books, The Defenders. Many of you already know, if you've been watching my claim sales on Torpedo Comics, that I am a Defenders fanatic. I love the Defenders. And I actually like the Defenders more than the Avengers. It's true. But during my claim sales, I've never had an opportunity to have all of the books. I've never been able to do a promo with all of the books, including the first appearances, the prototypes, and leading into the actual main running series. So with that being said, I was like, oh, okay, let's do that tonight. Let's take a look at all of the books to begin. Let's have a look. All right, so we're starting off here. Now, this is, of course, Roy Thomas. Isn't that a beautiful cover? I've always loved red sky covers. And right there, if you're wondering, who in the hell is that? That is one of the Undying ones. And this is like a little mystery issue, because they have these little idols here, these little statues of the Undying ones. Again, Roy Thomas. And Roy Thomas continues over into the other book that he's working on at the same time. And there they are, the little idols of the Undying ones. And this story gets wrapped up again by Roy Thomas. And by the way, he's also writing the Avengers at this time. Can you imagine that? So much work for one single man. This is Hulk 126. And yes, if your eyes are not playing tricks on you, that is Barbara Norris, a very young Barbara Norris, who unfortunately in this issue ends up being sacrificed to save Doctor Strange. And she ends up getting trapped in the domain of the Undying ones while Doctor Strange is able to come back to Earth. So of course at some point, he's going to have to want to go back. Not too much after, this is February 1971, again, Roy Thomas teams up the Hulk, Silver Surfer, and Submariner. And this is great stuff right here. According to legend, Roy just thought that these characters would make a good little team. God, if only he knew what was coming up. Such an inspired little team right here. And of course, if you're putting these three guys together, why don't you put them up against the Avengers? Got to give them a test, right? Unbelievable. Great stuff right here. When I first saw those two back issues as a kid, they were a little bit out of my price range. Oh, it was almost murderous. Okay, so with sales being good on these two issues, obviously it was like, well, we know why it's being good. People obviously like this team. Boom, hence they get a name. And Doctor Strange gets joined in there. Of course, he becomes integral to the whole team. Actually, he's like the linchpin of this team, because in this issue, Submariner and Hulk spend the whole issue shouting about how they're not a member of any team. This issue also features a follow-on story from Roy's Doctor Strange run, featuring the villainy of Yandroth, who is a scientific sorcerer. Yes, and he creates a machine that's sort of mechanical and sorcerous at the same time. Called the Omegatron. We're going to hear a lot about that later on. It sort of gets stopped in this issue, but does it? The next issue of Marvel Feature there, issue number 2, features a story there from Rutland, Vermont, the Halloween Parade. Dormammu is trying to use that time to breach the barriers to Earth. And Doctor Strange is like, I need your help, guys. And they're like, we're not a team. And then finally, Marvel Feature number 3 right there features the final appearance of the Defenders in this title. Of course, issue 4 is when Ant-Man comes back and gets his own solo series. And there he is, Xenu the Titan. And this is his third appearance in Marvel. His other appearances, of course, was in Journey into Mystery 62 and 66. But this is his first sort of Marvel Universe story. So this is sort of his canon story. Now, obviously the sales had been great. Roy's plate was rather full, but he knew he needed a Defenders title out there. It was going to sell. He just had to have the book come out from someone else. Who could he choose but Marvel's new hot writing sensation, Steve Englehart? Boom. So Steve gets on the book, and what does he do? He goes right back and says, okay, I love the idea of the Undying Ones. I'm going to have the Undying Ones, and I'm going to have another servant from them, Necrodamus, right there. And also going to have an appearance by the Silver Surfer. Unbelievable. Yes, he got permission from Stan to use the Surfer in this issue. So these 3 issues here, yes, I love this issue, finish off the story basically of Barbara Norris. Doctor Strange has to go back to the dimension of the Undying Ones to try and save Barbara Norris. It doesn't quite go to plan, and this is the genius of Steve Englehart. It wasn't just your typical saving a damsel in distress story. In what I think is quite controversial move, he actually has her falling completely under the sway of the Undying Ones, giving herself to them, if you know what I mean. So when they break the contact with the Undying Ones, she loses her mind. She just snaps. They bring her back to Earth, and she's basically, comatose, and then when she finally awakes, she's completely brain dead. However, it leaves room for the Enchantress to put the spirit of Valkyrie inside her, and we get the first appearance of the true Valkyrie there, Defenders number 4. Very popular book right now. Now, of course, Steve is very good at finishing off other people's plot lines. He just loves continuity. And so what he did, he grabbed hold of the story of the Omegatron from Marvel feature number 1. And he's like, okay, we're going to finish the story off. Which ends up with the complete destruction of the Omegatron. And then we led into this issue here, issue 6, of course, the Surfer, magnificent. Unfortunately, they still don't have permission to have the Surfer in the team completely, so I had to let the Surfer go. And then, of course, in this issue, we have a nice team up right here between the Red Ghost and Atuma. And it actually begins the lead in to the Avengers Defenders War. This is one of my favorite covers. I always loved this book. I love his look right there. Even though he's obviously not a spring chicken, look at the shape he's in and look at that beautiful spandex he's wearing. I love this book. Oh my word, I've read it so many times. And of course, here we are, dab in the middle of the Avengers Defenders War. Poor Hawkeye. Going to be beaten to a pulp by Iron Man unless his friends come along, and talk about powerful friends, Now, this is the issue that everyone always wanted back in the day because it features a good old classic tussle. Whenever Hulk and Thor fight, it always means sales, sales, sales. And what I like about this issue is that there's no clear winner. It's just a draw. But Thor is able to match himself against the Hulk's strength alone. It's very impressive. He's actually got him in a grip of strength, and they're there for hours. No clear winner. But in the end, the Avengers come along and the rest of the Defenders saying, hey guys, stop fighting. We know who the real enemy is. Now, of course, all you guys who know your stuff, the real enemy, of course, is Dormammu and his blind lackey at the time, Loki. Okay, now how about a nice little a trip back to the 12th century for the time of King Richard the Lionheart and the Crusades. Very nice issue, of course. And then enter Len Wein. Len Wein comes aboard, and so Len's like, well, I like continuity too. So boom, he brings back Xenu the Titan. Great issue. And then I love this book. I love the Squadron Sinister. I love Hyperion. And as soon as I saw this cover, I was like, I have to have that book. Because as you know, Hyperion, his punches can level mountains. And I was like, oh my word, what's the Hulk going to do against this guy? And of course, Len Wein is also a master of his continuity. And everyone loves Nighthawk. And of course, Nighthawk plays a very vital part in this story. And you're probably wondering, hey, how come Submariner's costume changed? That's a long story, but we'll get into it another time. This issue, of course, features the defeat of Nebulon, the Celestial Man, who is far from a man. He's more like a huge aquatic creature. Very entertaining. He does come back later on, and we'll go into that another time. And then, Len is on fire with this story. This is where he introduces the world to Alpha, the ultimate mutant, where Magneto is like, I'm going to create a mutant that can do everything, and it's going to be under my control. He sort of bites off more than he can chew, but it's also very good to see the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants taking on the Defenders. And by the way, at this time, Nighthawk is a fully fledged member of the team. Now, so this is basically 1969 through 1974. All beautiful stuff. I recommend this story tremendously. And of course, these issues, they're not that expensive in the scheme of things. This issue, of course, a novel feature, does get a little bit pricey. Maybe the number 1 and the number 10 is also a little bit pricey. But still, compared to some of those huge Silver Age keys and Silver Age issues, this is still a very doable thing to do. If you are a Defenders fan, remember, you need to start right there. Boom. So, I had a lot of fun looking at these books. I think I might have to take a little read. I might have to drag out some of my omnibuses and have a little read of some of this stuff. Anyway, I will do another post about the Defenders maybe in a month or two. And keep an eye on this channel. Got a lot more great content coming up. Boom!